Fourth bell. We've gone through first bell, second bell, third bell. Today we're going through fourth bell. Just a little recap, okay? First bell is all about taming the mind, bringing the mind into the present moment, okay? Second bell is all about interacting with the body, finding some kind of way to kind of start to communicate with the body in an organized fashion. That's why we go from the ground, pelvis, core, heart space, throat, top of the head. Third bell is the breath experience. So making your breathing an active part of your day. If you wake up in the morning and you read the newspaper, or you have a cup of coffee, whatever your patterns are, including the breath is as one of those things is fundamental. Fundamental. Your breathing, as we talked about in the last video, is something that you can practice up to the moment of death. And I know it sounds morose, but think about it. Your capacity to learn, your capacity to interact with this world that exists inside of you is as kind of amazing and nuanced as your capacity to learn from the outside world. And so what you're learning when you're engaging with the breath is you're learning the experience of the inner world. You're learning the ebb and flow. You're learning the eruptions. You're learning what settles you. You're learning what works. You're learning how to adapt to change, all in that space. And that's the breath. So that's third bell. Now, fourth bell is the whole point, right? So I want to really hammer this phrase home. You are always one mindful moment away from the best version of yourself. One mindful moment. Now, the best version of yourself in crisis or in chaos could just be that you're able to settle and not add to it. But if you're starting to practice, if you're getting engaged with the bells, and if you're actually bringing them to your day, then you're always one mindful moment away from open-heartedness. You're always one mindful moment away from tapping into the thing that connects you with everything else, which is love. You're always one mindful moment away from that. And sometimes the doorway into that one mindful moment is through your senses, right? First bell, you're focusing on sight, sound, taste, touch, smell. Boom, you're in the present moment. Or maybe you're one mindful moment away from the best version of yourself through the body, right? So maybe it's your body that really helps you get in. Or maybe it's first senses, then body, right? Just like the bells. Or maybe it's the breath, right? So with my kids, a lot of time it's the breath. So I'll be trying to put them to bed or trying to deal with them in some form or fashion. They're all this and that and the other. And I can't do a whole bunch of stuff. So I just focus on the breath. And then a deep breath gets me to that place where I'm more connected to my open heart. That's the key. It's the open heart is the pure voice that connects you to the love that interconnects everything else. And the more you open your heart, the more accessible this is. And so first it's just gratitude, right? Gratitude for the basics that, a lot of times you're not grateful, right? You're not grateful for all the gifts that we have. So it starts there, just gratitude. Okay, I'm really grateful for climate control. I'm really grateful for running water. I'm really grateful for this incredibly beautiful food that I'm taking in. First, it's just that. But then as you kind of get going, right? Then as your heart opens a little bit, then it's compassion. And once you get into compassion, then you're willing to go into the hard stuff. You're willing to go into harder conversations. You're willing to hold complexity. You're willing to hold some of the shadow. You're willing to hold darkness and anger and sit with it. And if you can sit with it, you can change it by your open heart into goodwill. You can lessen suffering, not just in yourself, but in others. That's fourth bell. That's the thing. You're one mindful moment away from the best version of yourself. And the best version of yourself often is simply presence, emptiness, and connection. Letting love do its thing. It really does do its thing. So that's fourth bell. So we'll go through the bells. We'll hit fourth bell, and I'm gonna start hammering this home with y'all. You're one mindful moment away from the best version of yourself. Let's do it. Start eyes open. Pick a spot, some spot that you can really focus on. Just focus on that spot and keep your eyes absolutely still. With your eyes absolutely still, notice what you're doing. Try to recognize yourself shifting your attention to your periphery. Intentional attention. That's what mindfulness is. You're intentional about where you put your attention. Okay. So take your attention and put it to the periphery. So study the right side of your field of view. Now study the top of your field of view. Can you feel how you're moving your attention willfully with intention, intentional attention? Left side, don't move your eyes, but notice left side. Now the bottom, notice the bottom of your attention. Now, shut your eyes and go immediately into awareness of sound. Notice how the world opens up. Notice sound, but also notice silence. There's so much to be recognized by listening to silence. First and foremost is spaciousness. You can tell where the space is in between the sounds. You can visualize the world as it is in this present moment. From sound, shift to touch. Notice the layers of skin on your body that are open to the air. Compare that experience to the layers of skin that are covered by clothing. Now shift to sense of smell and just notice what it kind of smells like right now without really focusing on anything. And then intentionally place your attention on smell and see if anything shows up when you intentionally put your attention on smell. You got to kind of hold it there. Curiosity will do that for a moment. But then insight can hold your attention for longer. So curiosity tames the mind, but insight, the insight of, oh man, there is smell there. I didn't even notice that. Insight will keep bringing you back, keep bringing you back. Like, oh, that's there. Oh, there's always more there, right? Always. So let's go to the taste in your mouth, feeling of the mouth. Just notice the hardness of teeth compared to the softness of everything else in the mouth. So you got these hard teeth, right? But if you feel the rest of your mouth, it's soft. It's moist, it's wet. And then there might be taste. It's all there, right? It's all there in first bell. All right, let's move to second bell. So now we're going to communicate with the body, and a lot of the ways the body communicates is through motion. So you think about mindful motion. So whatever motion you can create in your legs, in your feet, this is your ground. Create a little bit of motion down there. I like to just move my toes, move my ankles. I mean, even in kind of crisscross applesauce, there's a lot of mindful motion that can be created where you're just kind of feeling this region of the body. So it's ground. Now shift the region up, come into pelvis. There's a lot going on at the pelvis. And feel free to move around. Feel free to adjust your seat any way you want, because the communication you're having is around comfort. It's like, okay, body, I'm going to give you my fullest attention. I'm going to give my hips the fullest attention. And my intentional attention is to stay in that region. So I'm going to give that region a little bit of motion. I'm going to study that motion, and I'm going to look for comfort. If I find comfort, I'm going to emphasize it. Then move up. Now core space. It's a different feel. The motion that can be created at the core is a different feel than the motion created at the pelvis. They're connected, they operate together, but it's different. Studying that. Now, your intentional attention, right? You're focusing on that space, is registering the sensations. So you're pulling the core in, or you're letting the core out. You're shifting the core left, shifting the core right. Keep choosing your intention. Keep choosing to come back to that region. Motion helps because it's got activity. There's a flurry of activity. The mind is more kind of ready to kind of go into that space. Sometimes stillness doesn't have enough nuance, especially if you're new, doesn't have enough nuance to kind of capture the mind, and the mind quickly runs off. But with a little bit of motion, right? Like shaking my belly here, a little bit of motion, the mind's like, all right, I'll stick with this. So, come into heart space. I'm just bouncing my shoulders here. There's a neat element of, there's a nice little tingle in my hands just from that bounce there. I can feel it in my jaw, my throat bouncing there, in the shoulder blades, chest, back of the neck. Oh, there's a nice little sensation in the back of the neck, jaw. I'm going to throat. Just creating that motion, right? It is amazing what happens over time. Over time, if you are intentionally focusing your attention on second bell, on mindful motion, what shows up during the experience will evolve and grow in complexity and nuance. It's just like everything else. That's how your brain works. Go to the top of the head. And I like to shake my face when I get to the top of the head, because the motion of the skin moving over my facial bones, my skull, so evident, it's so clearly there. It kind of messes with sound too. I'm going to get still. That's nice. Just still, and I can still feel my body kind of tingling a little bit. There's some sweat moving down my front, which has a nice little cool element to it. It's real nice. Just a pleasant second bell. I mean, I love second bell. Second bell's great. All right, let's go to third bell. Let's try something different, right? Third bell breath practice. I'm going to give you a little bit of a hard one. Okay. So, this is a type of breathing that's kind of fast. So, if you look, my breath is going to go like this. Okay. So, here's how it looks. You can do that. You probably will get lightheaded, but I'm just bouncing the diaphragms in my body. You've actually got three of them, one here, and one here. Now, watch this. Blow it all out. Hold. Here it comes. Ooh. Oh, there's so much going on in third bell. I can't even tell you. Okay. So what I did is using the fast breath, fire breathing, is it Ujjayi breath? I don't know. Um, but what I did was I started to change the way the gases in my body were being received by my cells, right? So all my cells are getting fed with oxygen by my breathing. So by speeding the gas exchange up, I made my cells operate at a different kind of level. And then I exhaled fully and stopped my breath. Now, when you do that, it kind of tricks your cells to believe you're breathing one way. And then you stop the breath, and all of a sudden the cells are like, what the hell's going on here? And at first, everything's real quiet. But then you saw that part, I was like, that's the neat part. There's like this, maybe it's chi, maybe it's, I don't know what it is. It's the kundalini, I'm not sure. But what happens when I do that is this sensation starts to move up and spread out my whole body. And it's like this electric kind of, and it just spreads out. And then after that happens, I breathe in really big and hold that. And that starts to create a sensation. I've done this over and over again in my upper back, where I start to feel my heartbeat in my upper back. Third bells, there's so much to these bells, I'm telling you. Once you get this intentional attention down, once you get mindfulness down and start to actually do it, oh, don't even get me started. All right, let's go into fourth bell. Just put your hand on your heart. Just start with gratitude for shelter. Let's visualize your house, your apartment, your room, the ground, the walls. And just in your mind, offer thanks for shelter. Um, Sustenance, food. First, start with just clean water. Just think about where you go to get water. Just go to the tap. It just comes out. Come out in cold and they come out hot. How you bathe yourself. You just turn it on. Shower. And there's friends and family. Gratitude for friends and family. Just visualize the people that you care about. Just see them in your mind's eye. And if you want, you can use language internally to connect them to your heart. But you're already connected. You just want to kind of open the heart to the expression of gratitude. It's not necessarily language that's being expressed, it's love. And love doesn't have to be language. It's the intentional attention, right? So just keep the attention focused on this realm, this gratitude realm. One mindful moment away from the best version of yourself. Mindful moment over and over and over and over. Same moment. And the moment becomes, right? It's no longer a moment. It just is. It is the is. It's now let's take it in a different direction. Let's take this cultivation of goodwill, had the hands together, and take it into suffering. So visualize suffering. Maybe it's your own suffering. Maybe you can recognize your own suffering. See suffering in others. Now imagine that goodwill you cultivated with gratitude is extending to those that are suffering. And maybe there's a language, there's a prayer, there's a chant, there's a something that you use to focus. It really is your call. But the key is to keep the focus on that kind of expression. You keep the focus there. You're training your brain, right? You're training everything to kind of order itself around this intention. And then when you're ready to be done, take your 2 breaths and call it a day. Check it out. You're always one mindful moment away from the best version of yourself. That's just a fact. Thanks for practicing with us. We'll see you.